There are many different clubs you can join. Why join Toastmasters? What's the benefit for you? Toastmasters overall is a secure place, a secure environment that you can come into and you can make mistakes. In this speech, I think I'll make a lot of mistakes, but I'm really going to try hard not to stop the camera and start all over again. And that's the joy of joining Toastmasters. I can make mistakes and I can keep coming back and keep trying, and people are friendly and welcoming and just help me to get better, and I can get to know people and have fun at it. There are three big things Toastmasters teaches you: leadership, communication, and preparation. First, leadership. You can join small groups and have a supportive environment. For example, a few months ago I had this bright idea to do a university recruitment night and do a campaign for universities, and so the Toastmaster said, "Why don't you be chair, Mary?" I said, "Okay, I'll be chair." And there's something about being chairman of a committee, even if they just made it up on the spot and we said university recruitment, I was accountable to somebody. It was a fun environment. I'm allowed to make mistakes. It's risk-free. But I still put in 4 or 5 hours into calling and emailing and trying to find contacts to give the word out. And that gives me more confidence and more skills in contacting people and effectively. There's my mistake. See, I can't think of what to say next. I can't even finish my sentence, but I'm going to keep practicing. I'm going to keep trying. Second part of leadership is an opportunity to fulfill officer roles. In Toastmasters, every year we switch roles. You can be president or 3 vice presidents or 3 supporting officer roles. And that helps you to grow as a leader, to grow in mentorship, to grow in, to develop your ideas, to develop your skills. I don't really know what I'm saying right now, but I'm going to keep videotaping, and I did the speech tonight, and for some reason I was better. Probably because I have other things on my mind now that I'm home, but I'm going to keep trying because you know what? This is Toastmasters. There's no penalty. It's a laid-back way of learning how to talk, and so I'm just going to keep on going. First, leadership. Second, communication. I can prepare speeches and come to meetings, and this is my 7th speech in a year, and that's pretty laid back. I love that it's a self-paced program. It's flexible. If I have too much going on in my family, I just don't prepare and don't do speeches. If I have a night where I can do, or a week where I can do more, then I'll practice speeches a few times and write out a few notes and try to memorize a few main points. So I love that. I can make my goals and I can achieve them for a lifetime, and it really works well with everything else going on in my life. I also love that Toastmasters is teaching me to think quickly. It's rewiring my brain to think as fast as possible and then present myself with all the right facial features. Sometimes I'm too expressive. Hey, that's me. I gotta just accept that I make mistakes, and I'm trying to do less repetitive hand gestures and learn all these things. But you know, I have people in Toastmasters that are wonderful mentors, and they help me to be aware of how I present myself to other people. Their mentoring is really like coaching or parenting in a way that they point out ways I can be better. And I appreciate that. And it also teaches me to mentor in a positive environment. So, and it will teach you to help others to grow more in a friendly environment. And then you take that back to your work and you are able to mentor others. You are able to comfortably transition into manager positions or supervisor positions where you can help others to grow because you're getting that practice in a stress-free environment of Toastmasters. And so table topics is something where somebody signs up for a job, so maybe 2, 3, 4 times a year I might sign up for table topics and I prepare different things to talk about, and I won't tell anybody yet. And then in the meeting I'll say, hey, Anne, why don't you talk about President Richard Nixon in the 1950s? Not that that's one of my favorite topics. And so she has to come up and talk about that or something similar that she knows about, or change a topic and talk for a minute with an introduction, body, and conclusion, all the right facial features. Basically trains you to think quickly, because for me, there's so many times when I've wanted to come up with a witty comment to somebody, or wanted to speak in front of a crowd, or even just talk in front of a few people, but I couldn't think of something to say. And months or years later, I'll be thinking of that moment, and then something really funny comes to my head, and I thought, I could have said that. Well, hopefully Toastmasters will teach my brain to come up with something witty a few years earlier. At the beginning of the meeting, we usually hear from a jester or a poet master, and they find something inspiring, some joke or some poem to do with a theme, and that encourages us to be more comical and lighthearted. For me especially, I'm a teacher, and my main focus is how to get everybody to listen and stay focused on me, and I need to work harder on being lighthearted and funny. Also in Toastmasters we have a word of the day, and we actually have somebody who counts how many times somebody says the word of the day. So tonight, a few hours earlier, I was at the meeting, and the word was emulate. So everybody had to use the word emulate in the meeting as often as they could. And it teaches us to use vocabulary, to speak more clearly, to speak more confidently, and we get that practice every week when we go to the meetings. Also, you can sign up to be Toastmaster, which we're maybe more used to calling it a Master of Ceremonies, where you lead the whole meeting, and that teaches you time management. Love my watch. As a teacher, I learned 10 minutes, approximately, 10 minutes lesson, 10 minutes practice time with my students, 10 minutes homework in the typical 30-minute class. As Toastmaster, and especially with my speeches, and if you're listening to me on YouTube, this is going to be about an 8 to 10 minute speech. I wish I could get it in like a 3-minute clip, but I don't know how to say everything I've got to say in only 3-minute soundbite. So hopefully you're still with me. You learn how to manage the meeting. You learn how to make monthly goals and yearly goals, and that makes you more effective back in your organization, in your job, in your nonprofit organization, and working for the government, whatever it is. I know. Effective working for the government. The two don't seem synonymous, but they can be if you want to do your best in whatever realm you work in. Leadership. 2, communication. And thirdly, preparation. Now you might think, hey, I've been to university, I know how to do essays and how to think critically and put all my points into 3 or 4 or 5 different points that everybody can follow. That's true. It's easy for some people to think of everything they want to say and organize it, but can you present it without your notes, with the facial features, with the right body language, with the right tone of voice, not too fast, not too slow, with the right volume, and learn to Toastmasters gives you so many different projects where you can strengthen maybe your comical side, or strengthen, your research, or strengthen some other part, how to introduce somebody. You just practice a whole number of different ways of talking. One of our members he got up and his project was just to read in an interesting way and keep the crowd's attention reading from a resource. And it's fun. I really enjoy the fast-paced meetings, the interactive weekly meetings, and I have to practice. For this speech, believe it or not, with all the mistakes I make, I practiced 5 times in the camera, which is really hard to do, but when I'm eating or when I have some downtime and I'm feeding my 9-month-old, I'll get the camera out and start talking and try to get my thoughts together. But for this speech, you see me looking down like that, I'm looking at my papers. Ooh, can you see a little bit of paper there? Because I just couldn't memorize all these facts and then all the examples I wanted to talk about, so I finally just wrote it down. But they encourage you to not use notes. I practice 5 times in the camera for this speech and 3 times to my family, and get a little feedback from my husband. My 6-year-old just said it, well, she'd rather do something else than sit and listen to Mummy's speech, but it's good training for her to have to give a little respect and time to her mummy. Then I like the immediate feedback of a weekly audience, and I like the incentive to keep trying. I know, oh, I got to get to the meeting. Oh my gosh, I'm supposed to do a speech tonight, so I try. If I didn't go to the meeting, I wouldn't be trying to get better at presenting myself in front of people. And one of the problems I struggle with is I'm not okay with anything less than 100%. I'm really hard on myself. I'm my biggest judge. And so even right now, I'm thinking, am I looking in the camera? Can I see where my head is in the lens? Am I pressing that just right? I'm not very good with making mistakes, and I'm pretty hard on myself. So this is my one time where I'm just going to make mistakes and not keep recording and recording and re-recording to try and get it right. So number 1, leadership. Toastmasters just helps you to grow. Looking at my notes, thinking out loud. Toastmasters helps you to grow in leadership. It gives you a supportive environment, a positive atmosphere. After I worked with one of the ladies to produce a guest night, or to create a nice guest night tonight, we sat after and got to know each other for half an hour, and I love that. Getting to know people better, that creates a friendly environment for me, and it makes me want to keep coming back. And I can take that to work or to any other environment I'm in, and you can take that to your jobs or to your employers and create the same friendly environment, getting to know people in your work, even if it's just acquaintances and silly jokes. You become better leaders when you're able to create a friendly environment, a kind, caring, supportive, mentorship-like coaching environment for other people. You become a leader. Communication, the more you're able to listen, 50. People say 50 words, you say 5. The more people respect you, because everyone's got something to say and everybody needs a listener. The more you're able to think quickly and add humor and get a better mastery of the language, the more you can stay on time, because nobody wants a meeting that goes late. And the more you can think critically about your presentation and get practice in front of an audience and just show up, just keep coming back, the more you will improve in your communication, in your preparation, in your self-confidence, in productivity at work, in productive teams, and just being a better person all around. Why join Toastmasters? What's in it for you? Leadership, communication, and preparation. And I hope to see your friendly face one day in a Toastmasters meeting. Keep coming back.